Berlin in the 1800s was a city on the edge of greatness, a rapidly expanding capital of nearly 200,000 souls, transforming from a modest Prussian garrison town into the beating heart of a rising European power. This was an era of dramatic reinvention, grand boulevards carved through medieval streets, and architects like Carl Friedrich Schinkel reimagined the city as a new Athens on the Spree. Thanks to new advanced AI software, we can now recreate these scenes with unprecedented accuracy. By analyzing actual 19th century paintings and engravings, we're able to show how Berlin is likely to have looked, the architecture, streets, people, and atmosphere of the time, allowing us to step back over 200 years and experience the city as Berliners once did. This is an extraordinary panoramic view of central Berlin from the early 1800s, looking east across the Spree River toward the Royal Palace. You're seeing the nerve center of Prussia under King Frederick William III, a kingdom that would soon unite all of Germany. Dominating the entire cityscape is the massive Berliner Stadtschloss, the Royal Palace, a sprawling Baroque complex that had grown over 5 centuries to become one of Europe's largest royal residences. To the left rises the distinctive green dome of the Berliner Dom, the cathedral rebuilt in 1747 as the spiritual center of Prussian Protestantism. The Spree is crowded with timber rafts and cargo barges. This was Berlin's commercial lifeline, connecting the city to the Elbe River and ultimately the North Sea. Notice the Lange Brücke, the Long Bridge, Berlin's oldest and most important crossing, where merchants and military processions have passed for over 600 years. This view captures Berlin at a pivotal moment when Napoleon's occupation had just ended in 1813, and Prussia was beginning its transformation from kingdom to empire. This is the majestic view from the Kreuzberg Hill, looking northwest toward central Berlin in the 1820s. You're standing at what would become the site of Schinkel's National Monument, commemorating Prussia's wars of liberation against Napoleon. From this elevated position, you can survey the entire sweep of the city's expansion. Below, the elegant Hallisches Tor, the Halle Gate, marks the southern boundary of Berlin's customs wall, built in the 1730s not for defense, but to collect taxes on goods entering the city. These neoclassical gates by Karl Gotthard Langhans would soon include the famous Brandenburg Gate to the west. The spires and rooftops stretching to the horizon show a city bursting its medieval boundaries. The fashionably dressed Berliners in the foreground are taking in what contemporaries called the finest prospect in all of Prussia, a view that symbolized their city's ambitions to rival Vienna and Paris as a cultural capital. This is the Gendarmenmarkt in the early 1800s, Berlin's most beautiful square and the architectural crown jewel of Frederick the Great's reign. The two identical cathedrals facing each other are the Französischer Dom and the Deutscher Dom, the French and German churches, both completed in 1708 with their distinctive dome towers added in 1785 by Karl von Gotthard. Between them rises the Schauspielhaus, Schinkel's magnificent concert hall completed in 1821 on the ruins of a theater destroyed by fire. The square became a symbol of Prussian Enlightenment values. The French church served Berlin's substantial Huguenot community, Protestant refugees who fled Catholic France and became the city's most skilled craftsmen. Notice the elegant townhouses lining the square, home to Berlin's intellectual elite, philosophers, composers, and scientists who made the city a rival to Vienna and Paris. Next, we arrive at Unter den Linden, Berlin's grandest boulevard, looking west toward the Brandenburg Gate, Prussia's Champs-Élysées, seen at the height of its 1800s elegance. For over a century, this wide avenue had been the ceremonial heart of Berlin, originally planted with linden trees in 1647. The massive neoclassical structure on the left is the Altbibliothek, the Old Library, completed in 1780, housing over 150,000 volumes. Its curved Baroque facade earned it the nickname Kommode, the chest of drawers, from irreverent Berliners. Further down, you can see the Royal Opera House and the Armory, part of Frederick the Great's grand vision to transform Berlin into a city of arts and learning. The boulevard is alive with royal carriages, military officers on horseback, professors heading to lectures at the university founded by Wilhelm von Humboldt in 1810. This single street embodied Prussia's identity, equal parts military power and intellectual achievement. This is the Schlossplatz, the Palace Square, where royal power and public life intersected in the heart of Berlin. The imposing building filling the frame is the east facade of the Royal Palace, home to the Hohenzollern dynasty since 1443. By the early 1800s, this complex contained over 1,000 rooms. What you're seeing here is the main entrance used by visiting dignitaries, the Eosander Portal, named for architect Johann Friedrich Eosander von Goethe, who expanded the palace between 1702 and 1713. The square itself was Prussia's stage for royal ceremonies, military parades, and public proclamations. Picture this: guards in their distinctive Pickelhaube helmets, the clatter of wheels on cobblestones, royal proclamations read from the palace steps. This single location witnessed Napoleon's triumphant entry in 1806 and his humiliating retreat in 1813. This is the Neue Wache, the new guardhouse on Unter den Linden, completed by Carl Friedrich Schinkel in 1818. This single building transformed Berlin's architectural identity forever. What you're seeing is revolutionary simplicity. No Baroque excess, no Rococo decoration, just pure Greek temple form, 6 Doric columns supporting a pediment decorated with reliefs of victory. The building served as the royal guardhouse where troops protecting the nearby palace were stationed. Schinkel designed it as a statement. Prussia would be the new Athens, combining military strength with classical learning. This wasn't just architecture, it was political philosophy rendered in stone, the belief that Prussia's military discipline and intellectual excellence made it Germany's natural leader. This is the Spittelmarkt, a bustling commercial center in the heart of Old Berlin. The name comes from the medieval hospital, the Spittel, that once stood here. And for centuries, this was where Berlin's merchant class conducted business. The elegant tower rising above the market belongs to the Spittelkirche, rebuilt in 1752, its spire a landmark visible across the medieval city center. Down this crowded square, traders sold everything from Baltic grain and Silesian textiles to coffee and tobacco from Prussia's colonial ventures. The rows of merchants you see were among Berlin's wealthiest citizens, many of them descendants of those Huguenot refugees who brought French business acumen to Brandenburg. This wasn't just a marketplace, it was the Frankfurt Stock Exchange, and the Hamburg docks of Berlin rolled into one, where fortunes were built connecting Prussia's agricultural heartland to global trade networks. By the mid-1800s, these merchants would bankroll Prussia's railroad revolution and industrial transformation. History has left us thousands of these remarkable engravings and paintings from cities across the globe. Snapshots frozen in time, waiting to be brought back to life. So tell us in the comments, which city would you like to see revived next? Your choice could be featured in our next video. Subscribe if you enjoyed the content, and thank you for watching.